Sandy Floss.
Punch and Judy.
Punch and Judy, very good. What else do you think of?
Swimming.
Swimming. And you also see in the sand. And so what we are talking about here is quintessential British seaside resort. And the British seaside began here in Felixstowe. And we're going to tell you a little bit about how we know that and why that is. We've discovered a lot of history because we're doing a campaign to save these Spar huts, which are all about to be evicted. And what we've discovered is that these Spar huts are the first huts in the UK. And the reason why Felixstowe was on the map as a seaside resort really dates back to 1891. And over there you have South Beach Mansions, that glorious white wedding cake of a building. And that is where we had a very special guest. And we're going to hear about from her now.
Good afternoon. Thank you for gathering today. I wish to say that I am the German Empress. I am the Queen of Prussia. My name is Augusta Victoria. My second name is from my aunt, you know. I stayed in Felixstowe in July 1891 and we had a splendid time. And before we came, I dropped in on my aunt, Queen Victoria, for tea. I arrived by special train, very fancy. And I had 7 children and 5 boys arrived by boat. They rode on the donkeys and played in the sand. And I went for a dip in the North Sea. I got changed in one of these fabulous beach huts that you see here. My eldest son, Wilhelm, the Crown Prince, and just 9 years old when we stayed here, of course. The world changed forever, and when we were at war, during the Great War, Wilhelm commanded the army, but he didn't bomb our Felixstowe, no. Not like Scarborough, or Lowestoft, or Great Yarmouth. He simply couldn't bring himself to harm this town, where we've been so happy before. The world changed forever. A splendid holiday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Empress. Thank you for telling us a little bit about your trip. This trip was so important for Felixstowe. It really put it on the map. So the other thing that had happened for our town was the discovery of the Spar water. Now if you look behind me, you'll see there the dripping well, which is fed by the cliff water. And in the 1880s, what happened was the water cure was prescribed by doctors. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
That you would go to the doctors with ailments, a malady, hysteria, and you would be prescribed a water cure. And then people would come to fashionable resorts like Felixstowe to be dipped into the water. These beach huts that you see, their ancestors are bathing huts. Now the bathing huts had wheels. The people would be wheeled into the water, because obviously we're talking about times of modesty, and then they would be dipped on there would be a prescription, say 20 dips per day. Bearing in mind these days people wouldn't be able to swim. So they would be forcibly dumped under the water and raised up the prescription number of times. This is not a pleasant swim, it's a cure. The other thing they would do is walk to the Spar water over there and you would buy a cup of medicinal Spar water. So this was very much believed to be beneficial to the health. And we still have that sense that the seaside is something that benefits our health. So, what else is important for Felixstowe? We have the beach hut. We know they were here in the 1880s because when the Empress came, there are sketches of her at a stationary beach hut, not with wheels, but without. So we know they were here for her visit. We know they were here before then. That is why we claim this is the oldest row of beach huts in the country. The other thing that's very important for Felixstowe is the building behind me, the Spar Pavilion. That was actually opened as the new floral hall in 1909. Now prior to that, there'd been an Edwardian bandstand already there, and they built the bandstand into the architecture of the floral hall. But so that became the stage. They then would have glass all around, rather like a conservatory, that they could open up so people along the prom could hear the music. Floral halls were very, very popular. Bridlington had one, Scarborough had one, and Felixstowe was modelled on those. So it was really modelled on the best. What this meant for Felixstowe was that the town had arrived. It's got the spa water, it's got a floral hall. The pier opened in 1903. The other building I'd finally like to talk about is Harvest House. Do you know Harvest House? If you walk along and look up here, it's a massive red mansion built by Thomas Cotman and opened in 1903. It was opened as the Felix Hotel and it was quickly dubbed, do people know?
Millionaires
Hotel.
Yeah.
Because the people who stayed there were the gentry of the time and the royal family. And perhaps one of the most famous people to stay at Felix Hotel was Edward VIII. And he stayed there regularly, and his mistress, Wallis Simpson, came to Felixstowe when she was waiting for her divorce in Ipswich. And of course that marriage is why he abdicated. A lot of people don't believe that she stayed at Felix Hotel, but there are records in that hotel that say the staff were told you cannot mention what goes on in the royal suite. There's no doubt that she visited him there. They would have had meals there. Why wouldn't they? Where else would they go but the Millionaire's Hotel? So it's an incredibly historic building for Felixstowe. And that whole area, the whole area we're sitting in now, is a conservation area because of this, because of the pier, because of the spa, because of Felix Hotel, and most of all, because of these beach huts. And this row represents the first row in the country. Within the row, some of the huts are the original 1880 beach huts. We found that out in the last year. We had them aged by Lucy Worsley's colleague, Lee Prosser, who came and measured the planks and scraped the paint and confirmed that they are indeed original huts. And this is why we are fighting so hard for these beach huts. Because we argue this is where the seaside resort that we have started, and if you lose this, what's next? They define this town. All of these things define this town, and we should be proud of that, and we should be protecting that. Because if we don't, it will be gone forever. I hope you've enjoyed my talk, and I think that is the end of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.